Welcome to The Dark Descent. Today's story is not fictional. It's a true account that has been documented widely. Let's begin the video. Anneliese was born on September 21st, 1952, in West Germany, into a family that took their Catholic faith very seriously. However, her arrival before her parents' marriage caused a stir in their devout community. Her parents felt they needed to make up for their perceived wrongdoing and teach their children the importance of seeking forgiveness for any mistakes they made. From an early age, Anneliese understood that every action mattered to God, and she learned the value of admitting and making up for any mistakes she or her family made. While other kids played outside, Anneliese spent a lot of time at home praying with her sister. As she grew older, she became more involved in church activities, learning prayers and helping others who needed it. She believed strongly in accepting difficulties gracefully and trying to make up for any sins her family may have committed. As Anneliese got older, strange things started happening to her. During school, she began having sudden seizures that confused everyone around her. Her family took her to see many doctors, but none of them could explain why these seizures were happening. The mystery only grew deeper, leaving her family and community confused and worried. Despite these challenges, Anneliese's faith remained a strong part of her life. She continued to pray and participate in church activities, gaining respect and admiration from those around her for her dedication. Her deep belief in God and willingness to help others were central to her character. The seizures Anneliese experienced marked a difficult time in her life. They cast a shadow over what had been a happy childhood and left her family searching for answers and finding comfort in their faith. Each seizure brought more worry and prompted more prayers for help from above. Through it all, Anneliese never wavered in her faith. Her family and community supported her during this hard time, offering prayers and encouragement. But the mystery of her seizures persisted, with no clear explanation from doctors. This uncertainty deepened fears that something unseen and spiritual was affecting her. Friends often gathered for parties and outings, but Anneliese preferred staying alone in her room, praying for herself and her family. As time went on and her health got worse, she started having frequent blackouts, especially when she prayed and heard strange voices that scared her. To others, she seemed less like herself and more like a scary presence. Slowly, she stopped going out and stayed in her room most of the time. She became easily annoyed and started speaking angrily to everyone around her. Her behavior kept getting worse. A priest suggested sending her on a pilgrimage, hoping it might help. Anneliese's family decided to send her to Italy to join pilgrimages and drink holy water in San Damiano. But when she arrived in Italy, she refused to get off the bus. People managed to get her off, but she screamed loudly, saying the holy water smelled bad and she wouldn't drink it. Back in Germany, priests came to her room to clean it with holy water. Anneliese strongly objected to this, even slapping one of the priests. Seeing this, they realized Anneliese might not be physically sick, but could be influenced by something else. Anneliese's strange behavior continued, and she became even more fearful of what she believed were demonic forces. Her family and the priests became worried as she seemed to be changing from a kind person into someone they didn't recognize. The priest's idea to send her on a pilgrimage didn't work, and it became clear that Anneliese's problems were much deeper and scarier than they first thought. Each day, Anneliese seemed to get worse. Her once calm prayers turned into strange, scary sounds that made everyone uneasy. Her presence in the room felt dark and unsettling, leaving everyone around her feeling scared and helpless. The priests and her family didn't understand what was happening to Anneliese. They couldn't explain why she had changed so much or how to make her better. As Anneliese's condition continued to worsen, her family and the priests faced more questions than answers. They wondered why this young woman, who had once been so devout and kind, was now struggling with such darkness. Anneliese's journey into darkness had just begun, leaving everyone who knew her filled with fear and confusion. Anna's mother noticed strange things happening in her daughter's room. Ants crawled everywhere, covering the bed and even Anna's body at times. Sometimes they seemed to move in strange patterns, almost as if they were alive with a mind of their own. Occasionally, Anna's mother heard a dog barking loudly, yet there was no dog around. It echoed through the house, adding to the eerie atmosphere. These incidents left Anna's mother feeling unsettled, wondering what unseen force was at play. One day during dinner, Anna suddenly screamed at the top of her lungs. It was a sound that sent shivers down everyone's spine. As she screamed, Anna fell to the floor, holding her arm as if in pain. She cried out, saying it felt like her bones were breaking on their own. It was clear to everyone that Anna was not herself anymore. She moved strangely, her body twisting and jerking in ways that seemed unnatural. Her once calm and gentle demeanor had turned into something frightening and unpredictable. Fearing for Anna's well-being, her family turned to the local church for help. They hoped that an exorcism would rid her of whatever was tormenting her. However, the priests who witnessed Anna's condition were deeply troubled. They sensed a dark presence within her, something sinister and powerful that they could not comprehend. Reluctantly, the priests declined to perform an exorcism, admitting that they were not equipped to deal with such a strong evil force. This left Anna's family feeling helpless and desperate. As days passed, Anna's torment only grew worse. She heard voices, menacing and cruel, especially when she tried to pray. They mocked her and threatened her, making her afraid to even utter a single prayer. Anna found herself trapped in a terrifying reality. Her bedroom became a place of fear, where shadows seemed to move on their own, and every sound felt like a threat lurking in the darkness. Throughout it all, Anna's family remained by her side, praying for a miracle. They could do nothing but watch as their daughter's suffering continued, feeling powerless against the darkness that had taken hold of her. The once bright and hopeful Anna was now a shadow of herself, consumed by the darkness that surrounded her. Anna's parents, deeply worried about their daughter's worsening condition, desperately sought help to save her. They met Father Josef Stangle, a priest known for his experience with spiritual matters, at a local shop. When Father Stangle first saw Anna, he immediately sensed how serious her situation was. Her usually bright eyes now looked empty and haunting, sending shivers down his spine. With time running out, Anna's parents pleaded with the local priests, Father and Non-Ross, to allow an exorcism. They could see the urgency and fear in the parents' faces, so on September 24th, 1975, the priests reluctantly agreed to go ahead. Father Stangle, along with the other priests, started the exorcism to try to free Anna from the dark forces tormenting her. The first session was terrifying. As Father Stangle recited prayers, Anna began shaking violently, twisting her body in unnatural ways. Strange voices came out of her mouth, saying horrible things that chilled everyone present.
Ich hab recht dazu, dass ich in dem Wald rein bin. Ich trag dir die Rotznase noch so lang, bis es lebt wird. Die saublöde Weib. Für uns geht's kein Zurück. Nie! In alle Ewigkeit!
The battle was intense. Anna seemed to gain superhuman strength as she fought against whatever had taken hold of her. It took several men to hold her down, and they were terrified by the strength she displayed. Weeks and months passed, with Father Stangle and his team conducting exorcisms regularly. They were determined to help Anna, but each session left them exhausted and drained. The voices and threats from within Anna grew louder and more menacing with each attempt to drive them out. Despite their efforts, Anna's condition deteriorated. She bore physical marks, bruises, scratches, and burns that couldn't be explained by medical science. By July 1st, 1976, after enduring 67 exorcisms, Ina tragically passed away, leaving her family devastated. Doctors who examined her after death couldn't find any earthly reason for her suffering. The presence of multiple entities inside her, as witnessed by those present and recorded on audio, raised disturbing questions about what had happened to her. Ina's story remains a haunting mystery, an example of the profound suffering some people endure and the struggle between good and evil. It continues to challenge our understanding of the supernatural and leaves us questioning what lies beyond our comprehension. If you liked today's video, make sure to subscribe and like. Comment down your thoughts on this story and let us know which horror documentary we should cover next. Till then, goodbye.